Hi, once again, this is Sharon Stead, and welcome back to another Chats with Shaz. Today I'm talking to a fellow colleague of mine from Conservation Wildlife Fund, that's CWF, Conservation Wildlife Fund, and we're deep in the heart of Hwange, and this is Steve Alexander. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Shaz.
How's it going today?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a fun day today.
We did, hey?
Yeah.
We've actually been out all the way through in Goma and looking at bird life and everything. It's the most beautiful weather right now. But before we go into that, and I'll tell you more about that later, I want Steve to just explain to you guys who are listening today the significance of his work with CWF and the railway line that you see behind us. Thanks, Steve.
I am the field coordinator for Conservation Wildlife Fund, CWF, and I run all the field ops based up in Hwange National Park, and I operate with parks and also with forestry. And the railway line we can see behind us is actually the park boundary between the park and forestry. So just the other side of the railway line here, you've got a private farm, and then beyond that you have Ngamo forest. We're right on the edge of the Ngamo and Sukumi boundary here. And this railway line is quite problematic. It's at the moment with COVID, the railways have been shut down, so we have passenger services running. But under normal circumstances, there are 2 passenger trains a day. One runs from Vic Falls to Bulawayo, and the other from Bulawayo to Vic Falls. And that has been used in the past as a conduit for moving poached animal products, either ivory or bushmeat, from this area down to Bulawayo or up to Vic Falls. So it's quite a problematic area, and it's a very, very long boundary.
So I think the significance of CWF's work is to protect this boundary fence, which actually is not a fence, it's just the railway line. And Conservation Wildlife Fund, and particularly Steve's work, is to protect this boundary from poachers, and the poachers entering into the park, and then supporting the national parks in their efforts as well for anti-poaching efforts. So Steve, with us today also we have your favorite children. I don't know if you can see here, there's Epic and Legacy. They are quite special. They go everywhere with you, hey?
Yeah.
The only dogs allowed in the park, right?
Yep. Yeah, my 2 English pointers.
So later on today, when the weather gets a little bit cooler, Steve actually lets them get out and just to run down the railway line, just to get some exercise. Otherwise they harass you all day.
Yeah, if I don't take them out and work them.
Yeah.
It's just a little sprint for them.
Yeah. So today, tell us where we've been, Steve, and which parts of the park that we've visited, and particularly this time of the year, why it's so good to be here this time of year.
Well, we started off you started off from Ivory and drove up to me at Kennedy, and then from Kennedy we've come east along the railway line, and we started off in this area where we are now, which is called Mbiza, and it's quite a phenomenal and unique part of the park. As you can see, it's open grassland with lots and lots of lala palms here, and it's quite unique within the park itself.
In the mid-80s, an ecologist, Kathy Martin, did a great deal of work here on the botanical region regarding these alala palms. The concern was that these palms were not regenerating, and so she set out to count every single one of these trees and what was killing all these adult plants. One factor she found was that the baboons who roost in the trees at night, in the crown of the trees, their urine and feces were a major contributing reason as to why they were not regenerating and killing the adult trees. It appears that there are adult trees and then there are smaller trees. There seems to be no mid-range of these trees, and they have been a source of food for elephants during the dry season. It is such a unique ecosystem, which is why it's been given botanical status within the park. In times gone by, the railways' form of communication was mainly via the copper telephone lines running from Vic Falls to Hwange and to Bulawayo. With the fibre optic and new cell phone networks coming in, the wire telephone lines became obsolete and was just left out there. 90% of the snares found in this region are from copper-coated steel wire. So this was a huge source of snare wire for poachers. In 2018, CWF began removing this telephone line and recently has completed the task of almost 60 kilometers of wire. Many others joined in the end to collaborate with CWF, and our Mother Africa Trust was one of them. Back towards main camp, the wire was easier to remove as it was still on the poles. Between Kennedy and Machibi, which was about 20 odd kilometers, the wire was down on the ground and becoming mangled up with the elephants walking over it and the trees growing through it. It was pretty tedious work, but the entire boundary from Ngoma to Det town is now free of wire. It was a great effort, and thanks to all of those involved. Steve is one of the first 10 professional guides ever registered in Zimbabwe from way back when. I think his number is 6 actually of the original guides in Zimbabwe. So we're very lucky to have Steve on our team at CWF, and his knowledge of this area is exceptional.
Follow us on our YouTube channel, on my Instagram or Facebook. So thank you, Steve.
Pleasure.
Thanks for being with me
Thanks,
today. It's
Thank
great
you.
to be with you.